Welcome to your source for market research, news, insights, and commentary for the pharmaceutical, healthcare, biotech, and medical device industries. Welcome to Pharma Research VIDEO Report. We've got market research news for you from these fields that we're betting you have not heard. Several weeks ago, PR Video Report discussed a U.S. government group that's tapping into social media-sourced disease data. Its plan was to get several steps ahead of spreading contagious treatable maladies. Now, it sounded fairly routine and it seemed to be working, but Time Magazine's Brian Walsh has written about why it's not as easy as it may sound. And his case in point regarding social media and the spread of disease is a compelling one because of the organization he decided to write about. It's Google Flu Trends, a data aggregating tool from Google that is supposed to capture real-time monitoring of flu cases around the world using Google searches of specific flu-related terms. How is it not working? Well, the search terms in 2011-2012 and 2012-2013 led Google Flu Trends to over-report influenza by 50%. During the peak flu season in 2012-2013, Google Flu Trends said 11% of the U.S. population had contracted influenza, but that compilation was almost twice as high as what the CDC reported at 6%. The publication Science did an analysis of this situation, and it suggested that these big data methods are useful if combined with small data from traditional information collection. Next, remember CMS's proposed changes to Medicare Part D earlier this year? And remember 2 weeks after they were proposed, how CMS backed off and kind of shelved them? Well, they haven't been shelved completely. The expansion of Part D data access, CMS says, is going to proceed, at least for the time being. CMS wants to rescind an existing rule that prohibits the department from releasing to external researchers unencrypted prescriber, pharmacy, and plan identifiers that are contained in prescription drug event records. This rich information would be made available to reputable institutions conducting legitimate research, subject to certain conditions. CMS would also be free to release Part D non-final action data so that several external organizations could differentiate between original prescription data and amended or deleted Part D data. CMS says the privacy of this situation should not be of much concern because in almost all cases, these data are currently available to researchers through existing databases. Release of the data would, quote, help improve Part D program efficiency and prescription drug therapies that Part D beneficiaries receive, end of quote, that according to CMS. Mondac.com, on whose site reporters put out this story, analyzed this proposal and said it's part of a U.S. government plan to strategize, quote, the leveraging of data to solve, explore, understand, and address the crises of healthcare coverage, care, and quality facing the U.S. healthcare system. Another aspect of the Part D change would begin CMS's transformation from a passive payer of claims to a value-based purchaser of healthcare. Moving on, John Mack is the publisher of the Pharma Marketing Network website. And on the site, he has embedded Pharma Marketing blog, and he's the chief pundit at PharmaGuy.com. Pharma research is not John's leading concern, but through his many connections, I think he knows more than you may actually think about some changing conditions in the pharma research field. Here's what he told us he's hearing. John, social media for research purposes, is it a good match with pharmaceutical companies?
Well, it's good and bad, like most things, but I think that the pharmaceutical industry is very much interested in using social media for research purposes.
Mm-hmm. Can you give me some examples that you know of?
Well, I know that certain pharmaceutical companies have done things like the company is UCB, I believe. I'm not sure what that stands for, but they've done some work in the epilepsy area by sponsoring a board on Patients Like Me, a conversation board, patients, and they listened in on conversations, and they even may have participated in conversations. But they were using that to understand, to learn more about the patient's journey, I guess they call it, in that particular field of epilepsy, and they found it very valuable. And it was the first time that a pharmaceutical company actually was in control or sponsored an open forum where any conversation was possible. And it's a social media type of forum, patients like me. And they claim that they've learned a lot by listening and participating in those conversations. I think diabetes is a big area in social media for the pharmaceutical industry. They've been doing a lot themselves in that area, like Sanofi's diabetes unit in the US has been very active with social media in the diabetes community. And they extend that not only just in the social media area, but into the real world where they sponsor events and technology forums and that kind of thing. So they're really developing relationships with diabetes patients. So in that case, it's not so much, it's hard, it's not so much research in market research in the traditional sense. It's getting to really understand who your market is, the patients, and have them understand you and have a relationship with you. So it's taking they also learn a lot, so it is market research.
Another area that I think there is maybe a lot of pharma interest and attention is crowd science. Have you found that to be the case?
Well, yeah, I think there is more interest in that. I've been talking to a couple of pharma companies that have been doing that, like Lilly, in terms of their basic research, in terms of drug discovery and so on. They're using the knowledge of the crowd in ways that I really don't understand. It's a little bit too technical for me, but they are bringing in other sources, revealing part of their wealth of information that they have about molecules, and asking people who outside the company to come in to their dashboard or whatever they have, where they have all these spreadsheets and everything, and you do some kind of analysis that these people do and help them pick out, which molecules should they focus on in terms of future research, because they've given you some data, and from that, they're hoping to get some crowdsourcing knowledge about what's the next step.
You mentioned Lilly, but you said there was a second one. Who's the second company?
Boehringer-Ingelheim had something that was very, very high tech with the molecules, and they sent out spreadsheets. It was really too high tech for me, but obviously there are a lot of nerds out there and chemists who know exactly what to do with that information, and that's who they were looking to help them with.
Okay. John, thank you for appearing, and especially with your famous shirt.
Thank you for having me.
Our thanks to John. Do us a favor. Send him an email, johnmack@versity.com, and tell him you saw him on our video report. To close today's report, the word is out that the FDA, in its never-ending search for unreported adverse events, has now led it to actively search better than 100 million health insurance records. This new surveillance is called Sentinel, and it's a partnership between FDA and the Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare Institute. Michael Nguyen, a physician and acting director of the Division of Epidemiology in FDA's Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research, revealed on a blog that FDA has helped develop software that allows it to analyze information from health insurance and health record databases in order to find evidence of specific adverse events. The data are protected, FDA says, behind tight firewalls, and they remain under the control of the insurance companies. That's this week's Pharma Research Video Report. Sponsoring our reports is inexpensive and easy. You can email info@rflonline.com and we'll get you all the details. We'll see you next week with the next Pharma Research Video Report, and until then, have a great research day.